Do it. Fucking do it. Damn it, you did it. So for my last video, everyone seems to think that I only have the ability to berate actors for their shortcomings, when that's really not the case. So today I'm going to bring to you another top 5 list, but instead of berating actors, this time I'm going to insult their intelligence. This is going to be 5 tips to help you land the role. Number 1 is befriend them. Now this one might seem incredibly obvious. Personally, I'm someone who, the more you can keep talking, the better chance that I'm going to like you, the better the chance I'm going to remember you. But you also have to remember, don't talk their ear off, and don't just sit there and nod your head and smile. For most, their goal is just to get you in and out as fast as they possibly can. So if you can actually get them to stop for a moment and pay attention to you, that's how you know you've latched onto them. You have to be engaging. You have to sit there and help move the conversations along. You have to remember that these are people just like you. They're going to be just as awkward as you are to them. But hey, that's just how new friendship starts. Everyone's awkward, everyone's an idiot towards each other. Even if you don't land this role, there's a very strong possibility that they're going to call in you someday because they remember you. Having someone call upon you for a job as opposed to go to them for a job because you heard about it, I feel like that's a lot more flattering. That's a sign that that person sees potential in you and even has some form of respect for you as a performer. If possible, try and make casual conversation after the audition. Try adding them on Facebook. Just a small, hey, how you doing every once in a while. That's a pretty good conversation starter. Solid piece of advice though, don't ask about the audition for a little while, because if you do, then they're just going to feel more like you're just in it for the audition, that you don't care about them as people, that you don't care about maintaining a potential friendship. It's all business. You're going to remember somebody who's a friend a lot better than someone you're going to remember as a business partner. Number 2 is ask them as many questions as you possibly can. A good director will be very receptive and open to as many questions as you have. And trust me, if they're not, they're probably not somebody you want to work with. Ask what different arcs they have, what different scenes they'll be a part of, how they interact off of different characters. Subtle little information like this will ultimately affect your performance, be it, again, subtly or drastically. Ask about production information. Ask the director personal questions like, hey, how did you get into filmmaking? What are some of your personal inspirations? This allows you to build a type of psychological profile on them. This allows you to get right into their head, and hopefully they're not the paranoid type who will not like that very much. Being able to get into your director's head is an invaluable, very rare ability that comes from a lot of working with this individual for long periods of time, such as Jimmy Stewart and Alfred Hitchcock. I'm assuming they knew each other's brains like they knew the backs of their own hands. They worked together so damn much. Or Quentin Tarantino and Sam Jackson know each other so damn well. If you can get to that level of understanding and on audition, you're gonna get the role. Number 3, don't just apply for every character. Now I'm assuming you would think, hey, the more characters I audition for, the more likely it is for me to land a role. Not necessarily. If you feel like you can definitely dial in for all the characters that you are auditioning for, that's awesome. Good for you. But unless you are positive and confident you can do so, just go for the ones that you're most interested in. Otherwise, this does show a lack of interest for the project, and again, that you're just going for a job. Most filmmakers aren't interested in just having somebody who wants a job. Most want somebody who is going to come in and who's going to be happy to be there and happy to see this thing get made. I've seen enough people come in and just seem completely disinterested with certain characters, and to me, that definitely speaks volumes. It really helps me weed out the people who want to be here and the people who don't really want to be here. So unless you're really excited and you actually want to portray the character, just skip it. Number 4, learn martial arts. I know this one, again, seems a lot more obvious, but trust me, it does look very good on a resume, and in fact makes you look like a more versatile actor. If you can learn martial arts, even basic martial arts, that can be translated into doing basic stunts, especially for smaller productions. That is a godsend. Though just make sure to stay absolutely safe and do not go for anything bigger than what you know you can handle. I myself have seen a lot of people get hurt on sets due to negligence. I've seen a lot of people get hurt on sets due to my own negligence. Example, when we were shooting my short film Red Lantern's Oath, we had Miss Kiana Gandal's our leading lady. I had asked her if she could have done a couple of minor stunts for us, and she agreed to it even though she didn't have the proper training. And at one point, however minor she claimed it to be, she did get hurt at one point. When I heard her yell, "ow," that was kind of a point where it all really clicked with me how important safety is on a film set. Yes, it was important for me before, but never until that moment did it 100% truly click. But let me just say, Kiana was an absolute freaking trooper on that set. We put her through hell and then some, and she did it without even a complaint. And I've got to say, I was incredibly grateful to be working with her on that. So just as a side note, for anyone out there who's looking for an incredibly versatile, incredibly talented, and just generally a trooper of an actor, contact Miss Kiana Gandal. I cannot recommend her enough. Alright, number 5. Do something really out there and really unexpected during the audition. Now, what do I mean by this exactly? Well, it could mean any number of things. It could be slight hand gestures. It could be the pitch and the volume of your voice. Example, when we were casting for our web series Gotham City Sirens, namely for the role of Harley Quinn, we were auditioning Miss Tristan Recess. Tristan, I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your last name. When we were auditioning her, at one point she, flipped us off. And it was so quick and so subtle, it would have gone right by, but I noticed it, and frankly, it made me crack up. Right then I knew, this is somebody who understood who Harley Quinn is. This is somebody who can do something out there and can get creative. Bear in mind, as an actor, you aren't there just to read lines off a script and do exactly what the director says. You have input as well. If you're able to display some more of your own attributes, such as your comedic side, or your random side, or your more tonal, dramatic side, go for it. There's always a take two. Being able to show this comedic unexpectedness is essentially why we were so drawn to her and why we ultimately cast her in the role. Hell, even if you're doing a more dramatic piece, try something like get red in the face, pop the veins out in your neck, do a random shift in your volume. Like if you're sitting there getting very argumentative with somebody, just suddenly yell a line. If it feels right, just scream it. Alright, since the last video had 6 tips, I wanted to add a 6th tip in this one, but it's more situational, so I'm adding it as more of a bonus. Number 6 is do your research. Now when I say it's situational, I mean, is it based off a book? Is it based off a comic? Is it based off another movie? Is it based on a different time? Do your research as to those pre-existing properties or those time periods. Such as if you're going for a comic book hero or a villain that you don't particularly know a lot about, do as much research on them as you can. This will allow you to better emulate what the director has in mind, especially if they're going for this kind of feel. You might be really surprised as the kind of information you can find, such as their origins, or their personality, or past dealings, character interactions, stuff like that. Though I will admit it's probably best not to admit that you don't have any pre-existing knowledge or history with the character right there and there. Show that you have an understanding for the character, and then you can say something. Because this will blow their mind saying, wow, this is somebody who did their research and really took the time out of their day to figure it all out. Unfortunately, if you tell them beforehand, it might give them a little bit of a type of preconceived notion. It's not exactly going to be positive. Somewhere in the back of their minds, there's always going to be that little nagging feeling that this person doesn't quite know who the character is. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. I really do appreciate everyone watching yet again. And hey, if you know some actors, share this video along. Help everyone out. And if there are certain topics or lists that you would like to see me talk about and give my own personal opinions on, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to talk about them if I can, get worked up enough for them. At 22, it's always been my dream to be able to rant on the internet. Remember to like and subscribe. We got a lot more of these coming out. I really like doing them, and I know you guys like me doing them too. And before I go, there's one thing I will always ask of everyone. Please, please read the casting calls.